You intro. Hi guys, this is Daniel Alexander Cannon here on the Supernatural Show, the show that is not intended for entertainment purposes. And we're not going to entertain anybody today. As a matter of fact, I'm sure I'm going to make somebody mad. Yeah, unfortunately, these are the things I do. But we must tell the truth, and so we will. Today we're going to talk about Christmas and where that practice of Christmas came from and what the Bible says about it. It's pretty clear. And understand that I, Daniel, for anyone here, did not say these things that I'm going to read to you today. Jeremiah, the prophet, in the Bible said them, according to the copy that I'm just reading from. So we're going to look at that, and we're going to look at Santa Claus a little bit, and we're going to look at the birth timing of Christ as well as related. But first, real quick, we're going to acknowledge everyone that's here. We've got full house again today. We've got Shannon in the house today. What's happening, Shannon? Napping. Okay, we got Roxy in the house today.
Hello. Her mic was messing up while ago. It might be done it again.
Yeah, it might have done it again. It's been unplugging and deactivating all this. Let me see if I can see her mic by chance.
She's not muted on my side. Hello, everyone. Carol, Super Dave, Mike. Hope you're feeling better, Mike. Glad to see you back with us.
Yeah. Super Dave and Super Mike are in the house as well. Looks like her mic's connected on there. Give it another minute here. We also have Miss Kim here with us again today, helping us out in the background. How you doing today, Miss Kim? I'm good. Then you would know I'm good.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can now.
There we go.
Oh, yay. Okay.
So we have a full house here, including Super Dave and Super Mike in the comments, our moderators, which we appreciate very much. So, all right. Shannon, where do you think it's two questions? May or may not know the answer to both, and I'm just asking.
Okay.
You know where the practice of decorating a tree came from? What religion or empire or whatever? Do you know where it came from, by chance?
Well, yes, I know quite a bit about this. We're talking, of course, ancient Babylon with the tree part, of course. But the decoration of the tree stuff even goes, into places in Siberia and things along those lines where the shaman would come and bring dried mushrooms, Amanita iscariot mushrooms, which they would dry out and put amongst their tree. Of course, if you have an upside down tree, which is considered to be much more accurate to the Babylonian tradition, then that is, you're pretty much stating your allegiance to Tammuz. Did that answer the question?
Yeah. Do you know what the main religion was that practiced decorating a tree?
I mean, pagan religion. Yes. You're like, all you wanted me to say was pagan. Okay, sorry.
No, I wanted all of that. So yes, pagan, and most people probably don't really realize what paganism really is. And give you the real short version, and anybody can add anything to this they want, but the short version is the worship of creation. They worship earth, creation itself, like maybe the sun. Of course, the Egyptians and lots of cultures have done these kind of things. They worship the deities that are here, spirits and lower gods that are here, instead of worshiping creator of all these things. They do that. Reason, or I would assume part of the reason that of the tree is because of the nature of the tree is so deeply embedded into the image of the world, image of creation, meaning creation in this world. Because the tree itself, most people, we look at a tree and we think, well, it does just a tree, or maybe it's a fruit tree that produces fruit, or maybe it's a pine tree, pine cones. These are different things, but there's so much information such to be known and gained from the study of a tree. Even the Bible talks about the tree of knowledge. Touch it. Weren't supposed to touch it. Apparently, fortunately, in this world, ain't nobody that hasn't touched results of the good and evil. And it's the tree itself ended up being the tree and the pillar, because they like to use a lot of pillars to circular pattern. They're copying knowledge that even I share on this channel, but I share it not in the way of to worship that knowledge. It's a way of to understand how this world works and how our Father in heaven created it. And but there were empires and religious people in many different groups that started decorating Christmas trees, started doing a lot of things. And what they're doing, and they don't realize it, is they're creating a imitation of creation itself, meaning the tree in the image of, because you have the tree above the ground and you also have the tree below the ground, the root system. It's a mirror image basically of itself. And that image itself, being the mirror image of one above and one below, is the image of a torus, image of similar to a hurricane, and all the limbs branching out, all the roots branching out, are like the arms and energy cross ley lines that exist in hurricanes as well as in the earth. And over time, they learned all these things, but they didn't ever want to give credit to the Father as being the creator of these things. They felt that they were like God, but they worshipped the creation itself instead of the earth. But that's just a little bit of my opinion or my understanding. Roxy, what's your notes on Christmas, you might say?
It's I can't say that word. It's not in lexicon. It's a commercial holiday. It's to get you to spend your paycheck.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with Jesus.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, we all know that. Big time promoting.
The red and white man was invented by the Coca-Cola company to sell more Coca-Colas in cold weather.
And where do all of these things that people consume or buy, like the toys and gifts and these things, all these trinkets and stuff, where does all that actually originate from? And we all know it originated from our Father in heaven. But if you want to make, let's say someone gave somebody a gold necklace for Christmas. Where did that gold necklace come from?
Well, I have
the jeweler.
The who? The jeweler?
The jewelry store.
Uh-huh.
That's called a Capri Sun, sir. We got to update you on the lexicon.
Oh.
Well, I do have some insight on where the tradition comes from of the gift giving.
Okay.
Originally, because Old Nick, or, Saturn, because this is a Saturnalia holiday. It's based off of Saturn. Old Nick,
pagan holiday.
Yeah. Old Nick is also another name that they would use for him back in ancient Roman times. And parents would bring their children to sit upon the lap of Old Nick, because it was, again, tradition that they would have someone pose as that. And the parents would allow the kids to sit on the lap, and they would give the gift to bribe the children and the parent, if you know what I mean, for that lap sitting, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So this is technically where the gift giving aspect comes from on the mass scale. I mean, there's more to it, but that tradition was more of a bribery tactic for very inappropriate acts with your children and this guy.
Yeah,
So,
a lot of history that people don't really understand because, I'm guilty. I am guilty. I grew up just like everybody else. There was a Christmas tree in the house. I used
It
to
was
lay underneath it.
tradition.
Huh?
It was tradition. It was what we were taught as children. I
Yeah.
explained to my daughter this morning, this will be the last one I will celebrate with my grandchildren. They are old enough now to know the truth.
See Tracy in the house.
And
That
see
you
makes
that.
know, for those of us who have a lot of family, and especially in my situation, um, my mother has Parkinson's, isn't able to do holiday stuff, so she relies on me. And we just focus on, yes, we know all of that, but we still put our focus on that and family. And, this is the thing, is where we got to pray for that armor. But, there are just some things that you can't avoid in this season. So instead of necessarily saying, hey, I'm not participating at all in any way, shape, or form, turn that intention into something that glorifies God.
Charity. Do something for your fellow man, even if it's only a smile, because I promise you it'll multiply.
I just had to throw that out there
you can
because
figure out how. Yeah, Shannon. You can
it's
figure out
not
how
that
to do
easy.
good things around this time without having to participate in something that I don't. Again, I'll read it right out the Bible, which I'm going to do here in a minute. I didn't write it. It's credited to Jeremiah. But you can do good things that seem to be maybe to others related. But one verse that comes to mind is that the Bible, it says, and we might actually read it here, but it says you can't sit at the table, Father, and have dinner and also go have dinner with the devil. And something like that. That's not a direct quote. But yeah. So let's see. Let's go ahead and look at this this verse. It's pretty specific, kind of hard, because everybody this time of the year, and I've done it. I've dressed the trees. I was a ignorant heathen, and I hung up all the gold and silver sparkly things. But like I said earlier, which I didn't quite finish, and that is when you're decorating a tree and you're putting the little round, how they're always round orbs, and you're hanging them when they're sparkly shining, you know. Then you have the lights, and they're sparkly and they're blinking. They're like stars. Well, the orbs are representing angels, and not all angels of light are good. And then of course, the lights flashing and flickering. They're representing as well the the stars and the angels in heaven. And then you go and you take and you put like an angel or some kind of crown on top of the tree, and that's like um basically the placing of a deity top your idol that you've created. And because to idolize and love something that is a creation of this world is clearly against the rules. I don't think I have to read those. But even when you take most Christmas trees, they will take garland and they'll swirl it around where it comes down at a swirl. That's the serpent hanging around the tree. Garland, around and around, that represents the serpent. And the serpent is well known. Like if you look at a supercell thunderstorm and that tornado that's coming down, that is the essence, representation, symbolically at a minimum, of the serpent wrapped around the tree. And you can look at so many things in this world that you can see the symbolic nature of the serpent that's spinning around like the eye of a storm of our Taurus. And so I can see where it all come from. But I'll just read what Jeremiah. Okay, so as you can see on screen, it says it's Jeremiah 10:1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus say the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. Okay, so here I just explained about the signs of heaven, the angels, the stars, the garland, the tree, the symbolic torus that exists around us, where the stars spin in it like a storm. So, but then he goes, and this is mentioned in it right here, and it says, for the heathen are dismayed at them, for the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with an axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it shall not move. Put a base on it. So it's saying that there are, at the time that this was written, that there were heathens, were used, which we could define if we really wanted to. Look at what heathen definition this will be. Jeremiah 10:2. Apparently from the same root as the sense of massing a foreign nation, Gentile, figuratively a group of animals, or a flight of locusts, Gentile, heathen nation. So it's a group of people who do similar things. They have a lot in common, you might say. And so you can see what they're doing here. They are making something an idol for something that is in the image of heaven. And according to Jeremiah, the prophet, because I didn't say it, but he wrote it here pretty clearly. They're cutting the tree down, taking it in the house, and hanging stuff on it with silver and gold, and and all that, which is exactly, nobody can really honestly talk their way out of that. That's what we've all done. I did it most of my life. I'm just as guilty, but I now know that we're really not supposed to be doing that. If we want to believe the word of the Bible, we're not trying to judge, And but it is what it is. Now, also, others. Now, this was the warning against idolatry and like the Christmas tree and turning it into the image of something, image of the heavens. And it talks about how important it is not to do that. So, Leviticus 3, and it talks about after the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwelt, shall ye not do after the doings of Canaan. So in Egyptian times, when they were really powerful back in those days, they built a lot of idols, a lot. They even tried to idolize themselves upon death, and they definitely worshiped the lower gods and got a lot of rewards out of them. Knowledge. I suspect that they even, similar to Solomon, had control of demonic spirits And one of the wanted to mention this too, and it kind of touched on this. That is part of the pagan celebration practices that everybody gets naked. Everybody would get naked, even the children, and dance around, do things. I wasn't there, so I'm not going to state exactly what they were doing, but it is pretty well known that they would all get naked and eat mushrooms and have a whatever you want to call that kind of a party.
Easter Bunny Festival.
Yeah, Easter Bunny Festival. But here, again, still in Leviticus, says, none of you shall approach to any that is near to kin of him to uncover their nakedness. Says the nakedness of thy father or the nakedness of thy mother, thou shalt not uncover. Goes on to say nakedness of the father's wife, or the father's nakedness himself, or the nakedness of thy sister, or the daughter of thy father, or the daughter of thy mother, or the naked. Huh?
Can I interject something just 1 second?
Sure.
I got the Ethiopian Bible open, and the translation or the way it's written in there is different. It's not nakedness.
What does it say?
Where'd you start at 6?
I started at
no man is to approach any close relative to have intercourse. There's another word there.
Is
with
that the
her.
word that it used?
Sexual intercourse with her.
Yep. Okay.
You must not expose your father's nakedness by having intercourse with your mother. She is your mother. I mean, it goes the next like several verses. Everywhere it says nakedness, in my version, it actually says sexual intercourse.
Oh my gosh. I know this is kind of off subject, but because you said that in that translation is different, I wonder about the Noah Ham thing, because it says in the Bibles that we've read that Ham came upon his nakedness when Noah was, filled with wine, and he had cursed him. I mean, it angered him. It was so awful that he had done that, but it never made sense until now, if that's what the nakedness means in that same context, and that would solve a mystery.
I've heard it translated both ways, what you're talking about.
Well, this goes all the way into like verse 18 or so, several verses later. And what it does, every one of those that where it says nakedness, in here it says sexual intercourse.
Well,
and it names it right on.
But in the Ethiopian Bible copy that you have, it kind of makes it more to the point that you're not supposed to have an orgy with pretty much
just
anybody.
Orgy, now good. Okay. That's multiple not just one. Yeah.
At least we're being honest. Okay? It is what it is. Yeah, and it goes on and on, but the reason I brought this up is because, again,
go to 21. I want to see what your I'm sorry, I want to see what your 21 says.
21 says
18:21.
And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire of Moloch, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am the Lord.
Mine says, I got to pull up the flashlight. I'm at the farm. 18:21. You must not give any of your children as an offering to Moloch, so that you do not profane the name of your God. I am the Lord.
Yeah. So in other words, your seed or your children are your seed that have sprung from you. Not to be sacrificing them via fire, because they did that. And there are ways that this is happening even today. Still, some ways in some places among some groups of people, especially people with a lot of power and money, they really do it. Straight out, straight up do it. Sacrifice children for, for worshiping a lower God. But then there's other ways that this can be done too. And I mean, to be honest with you, there are so many things wrong with our society that I can see now that I couldn't see many years ago. There was something was wrong, but I couldn't see it all. And I still can't see it all. Okay, but I knew something was wrong. And like, we take our children and we go drop them off with the Rockefeller education system. See you this evening. That's just one example. I mean, how many of these things are we doing that, or have we done that we shouldn't be doing? And this is no placing judgment upon anybody, because we're all still guilty. We're in sin. We're in this world, but we're trying, hopefully, imagine if you're here anyways, we're trying to understand things better and try to grow to be better. I have Luke 6. This is about talking about Christmas itself as a date. This is Luke 1:26, and it talks about the birth of foretold in it. It says, in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from God unto a city, Galilee, Nazareth. So this is when, of course, the angel comes to let you know you're going to have a child. And it's the 6th month. Now there's ways, probably more than 2, in fact. But there's a couple of ways, you could look at it by the calendar that we all use now, pretty much. You could say, oh, well, that's June. Right? Well, if it was June, you got June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. About like March or April, okay, would be 9 months. Somewhere's in there. 11 days. 9/11. Actual months and days of a normal gestation of a child. 9/11 days. And I think there's more to even that. That in a second here. But if you also know that they were probably talking about the true calendar or lunar calendar or Jewish calendar, something along in those lines, they use the cycles of the sun and the moon, and they generally counted 13 months. And the spring would be your first month. And we're talking basically the beginning of April, changed by a day or two based on when the full moon happens, and then the new moon thing. But that would be April, So if that was the case, count off, and that actually puts you, well, let's April, May, July, August, October, November, December. Actually comes up as December. But then if you go on and you start looking further into this, talks about when Mary rose in those days and went to the hill country with haste, the city of Judah, basically goes and visits Elizabeth, was the mother of John the Baptist. And he ultimately finds out that he's expecting a child too. He was supposedly too old to have a child and was barren, but he was blessed to have a child as well. And I was trying to find, and maybe someone in the comments might know, trying to find, there's a couple of verses that hint as to when the time of year this was going on. It refers to the sheep's being in the field and doing different things that kind of tell you what time of the year it likely was in the northern hemisphere. And it kind of, let me make a long story short. This is no for sure, but it kind of, I've seen so many things that made me lean towards, along with the ritual that they did on that 9th month day that we just mentioned a minute ago. If you wanted to go against God and go specifically against Christ, Redeemer, one of the biggest rituals they've ever done, of course, is 9/11. Here I go saying it again. It's the bringing down of the symbolic woman and man, destroying them. And then they come back in, I think it was March 8th or that, where they then raised the one world freedom hour, symbolically freedom now, because what we've done is we've destroyed man and woman and put man and woman back together again as one. What they did was the two buildings, the two pillars, two images, they destroyed them and brought them in and blended them into one building in a swirl. One World Trade Center swirls. And of course, it is the Trade Center, turning Temple of God, or the image of the Temple of God, which was man and woman, into house of merchandise. And of course, we know, as talks about how Christ didn't really like merchandise being traded in the temple. In us, we know we are the temple. And what are they trying to do right now? They're trying to merchandise us. They're trying to track your biometrics. They're trying to do all these things using technology from the beast out of the sea, silicon and silicon, make all these electronic devices. And they are trying to turn the house, temple of God, is us, into a house of merchandise. So hopefully that kind of clears it up, possibly. And those are my understandings and my kind of what's kind of going on. But the date of that 9th month, and that was so many days into the 9th month that they did that, I highly suspect that that was the, and I can't say which for sure, either when Mary was, had Gabriel come to her, the angel come, or when he was actually born. Because what you're doing is you're destroying what Christ said he's building, temple of God made without hands, see? Meaning us. They symbolically destroyed it and then put it back together as one, saying we have discovered the triple helix DNA, and we now have and are giving birth to children who are man and woman put back together again, and in an attempt to live forever. I kind of muddied the waters a little bit, but maybe I cleared up a few things for a few people. Guys, think about all that crazy talk.
I mean, it's not really crazy to me, but
Yeah, it's watching what they're doing, and that's what they've been doing. But we know they're trying to merchandise. And of course, we know also that if we look at there's the North Pole talking about Santa Claus. Santa Claus. Remember that song? Better watch out. You better not cry. See, what they've done here, you got the North Pole, and you got the man that they claim to be up there, and he's like competing with God, literally. Says you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. Because Santa Claus making a list and he's checking it twice. Find out who's naughty or not. Santa Claus coming to town. So Santa, in this case, knows who's crying, who's pouting, who's been doing bad things, who's been doing good things, who is naughty or nice. And he's coming to town, and he's coming to the whole world in one time. Something only God could do. He sees you when you're sleeping. So he knows if you're a sleeper, if you're not awake, and he knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. Good, for goodness sake, it's. And the other lyrics. And of course, it's, this is about something, a deity coming down the center of a chimney into a fire, not getting burned, of course, and coming out and giving gifts. The kids were following the rules that have been set as good, bad. We all know that you have to be asleep in order to follow those rules. Because once you're awake, you start talking about and seeing the things that we're talking about here.
You'll notice that in every culture, the Santa Claus character, which isn't always a man, sometimes it's a female. And of course, there's the whole Krampus aspect to it, which is, Santa's helper. But the whole point of the children needing to follow the rules and to scare them, to be good, because if not, the whole Cole thing was, a dumbed down thing, because Krampus or Santa himself would take your children if they were not good. So it has a lot more to do with child trafficking and stealing children for ritual right purposes. But they would use judgment, and scare tactics on the children to keep them in line.
What shape of the head did Egyptian deity?
What do you like? What shape
Dogs.
of the head? Conical?
Ding,
A
dong.
cone shape?
Ding, 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 ding.
Well, and that the Phrygian cap goes, far back into pagan history, and the Catholic Church would hire men to go around in their areas with that cap, because that would signify they were with the church.
In Egyptian times, the women and men, and they would wrap their heads to try to change the shape of their heads, and because they wanted a conical shaped head, because that was the shape of the head of their deities that had been, however they seen them or witnessed or whatever it was, they were trying to emulate. Just like young men, you see them right now out these days. If they're a NASCAR fan, they're going to try to emulate that. If they're a hunting fan, they're going to try to emulate that. If they're whatever it is that somebody worships, you don't have to get on your knees to worship something. It's giving your energy towards it, your focus, and all these things. But Santa Claus with the pointed hat and the fact that he wears blood red, and he's I mean, there's so many bad things about it. He's very overweight. He's an old man with a bunch of little girls sitting in his lap. I mean, so many things go wrong. But then, of course, there's always
Don't
going to be
forget the elves.
the elves. Yeah, he's got little slaves. Yeah, got a bunch of little slaves slaving away, building toys to pry the children with. That interesting. You
And
know?
whether it be elves or Krampus, there's obvious demonic help with this character.
What do you think is up with the
Well,
reindeer?
one thing we know is that up is down and left is right. So if they presented it to us as children to be just happy, holly jolly, fun little dude, that's going to give you toys, if they presented it to you as a good thing to make you accustomed to it, it was not a good thing.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, in most places in Europe and around the world, this character is more terrifying than happy and jolly. It wasn't until you had mentioned with the whole Coca-Cola campaign that character turned into something, much more fun and exciting and
polar bears.
Yeah.
More like the devil or some kind of evil deity coming after the children. And then it kind of got sweetened up over time.
I mean, there are a few characters too in history that they equate this the Santa person to, but each one of those characters has a lot of occultic, connections and ties. And one of them, being Saint Nicholas, was, like I had mentioned, I think in a show before, was on the very first Council of Nicaea, which picked apart the important things in our Bible.
I pulled up the name of the reindeer names. There were 8 reindeer. Now, 8 is a number that is related to a lot of things, but one, like 88, is supposed to be related to Christ, even though we have others using it for other means. But the name of the reindeer got Dasher. We've got a Dancer. And got a Prancer. You've got a Vixen. Got a Comet. You've got a Cupid, Donner, and a Blitzen. Any comments, anyone?
Well, go ahead, Roxy.
No, I'm fixing to go look up who named the reindeer.
Oh. Well, I can give you some insight. It is Dutch. These you wanna find out something fun. So those Labubu dolls that we've mentioned before, and what their origin comes from is from Nordic mythology. Well, the Nordic, is where these names come from, which is Dutch, Nordic. They're all from the same kind of realm. It's the same background of the Norse people. And Odin, it was his like demonic otherworld pets that he would actually fly around. I mean, a lot of this Old Nick, all this stuff comes from Odin. And these reindeer are actually the Labubus that are out for sale. Like, that's the origin of what these beings or beasts are from.
And the Labubus have to do with deities. It has to do with dark deities. And if you start thinking about the names like Dancer and Prancer, and Comet, like what we know about or believe we understand about comets now, and being a dark deity, and how the word comet is associated with, directly associated with other science and acts. It just and then Cupid, of course, you could see how that could relate to stars in or one of the constellations, heaven as well. And then the last question I have, and before I'm going to let everybody go today, I know everybody's got things going on, is what's up with Rudolph's glowing red nose?
Rudolph was added in 1939 in an advertising booklet.
Okay. Why is his nose glowing? There's always
I don't know about that. I ain't got that far, man.
There's always a hidden secret behind all this ritual stuff. There's nothing by chance. That's
well,
one thing I know.
I do know.
His nose red?
I do know the association of clown noses being big and bulbous and red are connected to the Nephilim and what they really actually look like. There's this really amazing podcast and information where this man really explains how the Nephilim look like clowns. Well, the whole big red bulbous shiny nose was an attribute to these Nephilim, and so maybe there's a connection there.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah. Canon is just a book of knowledge.
Montgomery Ward put Rudolph in a advertising pamphlet for Christmas in 1939, and then Gene Autry sung a song about it, and it became popular. I'm not seeing anything about
1939 reference to Robert May, story of Rudolph the Red-Nosed.
Yeah. Gene Autry made him famous because he sung a song called Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know who wrote the song, though.
Says the German spelling was R-U-D-O.
LPH.
In English, it's LPH, but in German, it was RUDOLF.
Interesting, because it means fame or glory, and also wolf. And again, it's Germanic, so that's, again, Nordic roots.
Almost sounds more like they were a wolf pack more than they were actually reindeer. Got switched to reindeer probably due to the association. Of course, the wolves are up there too, and they eat the reindeers.
There's an actual parasite that will make a reindeer's nose red.
Interesting.
Okay. What's it called?
It's
not cocainus stimulus, is it?
No, it's
See, I can be funny sometimes.
called snot bot.
What?
Snot bot. BOT. I'm sorry, I lost it.
A snot bot.
It says suggest a fly larvae called snot bots infesting the nasal passages can make a reindeer's nose shiny and red.
Oh, here, I'm going to share this with both of you here. I'm going to put it on our... This is what the boo-boo is modeled after in Nordic lore, which it, again, is also named the devil's pet or Satan's pet. But I just thought you might want to...
You could share it in the our chat there. Yeah. I could pull it up here if you've got the link.
I just did. It's just a picture.
Oh, you
I just thought
it in the public chat. I was
just the main.
You shared it?
No, she shared it on the phones.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't have that.
You're pulling it up on your phone. That's what it is. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's got a red nose. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah. It's all interesting, and the point I guess that I would say is we can't just accept things for how they are or how they were just because we were raised a certain way. We're supposed to prove all things.
Well, and since Shannon has so lovely gifted me this Ethiopian Bible, I've got like 5 Bibles stretched out at my house at all times now, like going through it. And every single one of them, the verse is different. And I've realized lately, the more I look into this, that I have to keep in mind that the first people that put this book together and selected what they didn't want in there was a bunch of politicians. And regardless of whether it was a king or whoever, there was politics involved in editing and translations of it coming forward. So I'm going backwards to try to find the least edited versions I can find.
Right.
No.
Did you guys see the picture yet?
Oh, sorry.
I can't at the moment. See some conversation
so
in
good.
chat going back and forth about angels. Yes, there are a lot of things that are man-made that are in the image of angels, but I've had actual angels visit me up close and personal, big as a Volkswagen, many, many times, many, many nights. Even Miss Kim has seen them. Her daughter has even seen them with me. I'd say, let's go to the beach and see angels. Man will try to create any and everything he can to be like God. This is something that's always been that way, and it probably will always be that way. Man wants to be God. He's jealous. And so is Satan. But they always copy. There are man-made things that look like angels. We even have something called Starlink that people can see in the skies on clear nights. You'll notice they're always above the clouds. And they're cruising along, and you can see them. They're bright, and then they'll get right above you and disappear every time in the same spot, because the reflection of the sun, as it's moving away from us, the angle changes and you can't see it anymore. Those are Starlink. Angels, you want to know you've seen an angel, go to the water's edge, stand there and pray and ask for them to come, give them permission and ask them to show their light, or go to the mountaintops and do the same thing. Those are the most likely places that I've had experiences with angels, and we're talking about up close, like 25 feet away, 50 feet away, 100 feet away, this kind of distance. So dealing with. And yes, I'm aware that there are, like, Satan himself even masqueraded as a angel of light. So there are good ones and there are bad ones. But if you want to see an angel, I'm just telling you, that is clarifying for y'all guys in the chat. Just, when it comes to the angel topic, I have a little bit of an advantage, not just speaking from opinion, because of the amount of times I've had them come to me on the mountaintops and by the water's edge. It's like biblically, all the times in the Bible, most of the time, not all the time, it, like in the book of Daniel, for instance, it's by the water's edge. In Genesis, it was on the mountaintops. So, with that being
If you
said,
look at most buildings in history, they're always built by the water.
Say that again, Russ.
Most of your major original structures are built by the water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for a number of reasons. That'd be a whole nother rabbit hole to go down.
Yeah, we ain't got time for that one.
We ain't got time for that. So, all right. Well, we're going to wrap up now and let everybody get on with their day. Thank y'all guys for a couple of you gave me a little assistance to get the internet going again today so we could do today's show, which then helps me for the whole month of keep being able to do the shows. And so thank you very much for your help. And with that being said, we'll play one little thing to remind a few people since we are on the subject matter. And that is the Angel Cruise that we're still promoting for, still gathering names for. We do have enough people signed up that we probably could pull it off, but we would like to get some more of you and get a bigger crowd. So that said, I'll see you later, Roxy. See you later.
See you later.
Shannon, thank you very much. Thank you, Super Dave. Thank you, Mike. Glad you're doing better, brother. And thanks to Miss Kim as well for helping out. We'll see y'all guys Well, I'll see you on Wednesday. How about you and Roxy, Shannon? What y'all guys got going?
Tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern. Got a guest coming on from TikTok
Ooh,
who has some knowledge on some of this Christmas stuff as well.
Yeah, there's some people out there that's really, really dug into it. I've dug in enough that I know that it is what it is, but that ought to be interesting.
He's a cool dude. Just found him. Don't know him. We're gonna try it out. I like what he said.
Gotta have let other people talk. Sometimes that's what the whole Supernatural Show network is all about. And
I don't care if they got 1 follower or 1 million. You want to talk? We'll talk.
Yeah.
Be nice.
Yeah,
we can debate anything.
If we
And
don't let people
forget,
talk, don't have a big following, something's wrong.
And don't forget that we're doing our giveaway at the end of this month for those 3 lucky people who subscribe to the Roxy Files and Children of the Most High. Ooh.
All right. Love you guys. Thanks to everyone. I'm going to play this ad spot and then go straight into ad spot. It's promotion on the Angel. And go straight into the intro after that. So I'll see y'all guys later. And thank y'all guys for watching, guys for being here and seeking the truth. We love you. Bye-bye for now.